Good night, what's up, Mayor? I only make a 1 hour video when I'm done, guys. Hope you guys enjoy my videos. Yeah. What are you eating? I'm eating what I ate before. I made the toe in the hole with cheese, eggs, and tomatoes on the side, right? I made it myself. There was nothing to eat, so well, there was food to eat, but it's leftovers from like 5 days ago. I don't feel like eating that, right? So I made my own toe in the hole. Yeah, with tomatoes on the side, right? Yeah. Ivan, how much does the CFL do in revenue? I heard there it's between like 200 to 300 million a year, but according to Google, CFL peaks at 240, but sometimes it might peak at maybe 300, maybe 300 million in the CFL. So my goal would be to grow the business to a 450, 500 million a year business if I was CFL commissioner. Yeah, I mean, your revenue could double in 10 years to a 550 million a year business if you do everything right, but it also won't make a difference, obviously, right? So I could be wrong. Maybe making that change doesn't make a difference, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because football is just not that popular in Canada, the CFL, right? Football is just not that popular in Canada. Yeah. All you Americans are shocked. Football's not popular in Canada, no, man. It's all about hockey up here. You guys are shocked because you guys in the States don't really care that much about hockey, right? Yeah. Skip Bates and Shannon don't talk about hockey players. They don't care about hockey, those guys. All they talk about in the States is football, basketball, NBA star players, NFL star players, a few MLB guys, and they don't talk. They only talk about the NHL guys. Yeah. Hockey's not that popular in the States compared to like football, right? That's why NHL is number 4. Even though NHL is probably the big 4, it's number 4. The least most popular league out of the 4 leagues in the NHL, right? Yeah. Yeah. So if the CFL does 300 million this year, and hopefully in 10 years the league can grow to a $350 million, $360 million business, that's good, obviously. Yeah. I don't know how much the CFL makes. It's around that range. I don't know, 200 to 300 million, probably 250 million around there. It peaks at, according to Google, right? So, yeah. But some sources says it even does $300 million. I don't know, but I mean, hopefully it grows to a 400, 400 million business. That's what the CFL's aim. Well, yeah, I mean, we want to grow this into a 500 million a year business. Yeah, well, you've been marketing the heck out of your American star players, and something's not working. So I don't know. I have way two answers. Either the fans in Canada just don't care about Canadian football, or there's a bigger market for it, but it's with the Canadian product, or it doesn't make a difference, obviously. Still don't ever make that change because they see it as risky. Yeah, I mean, the Canadians are not as talented either. They don't put on as much of a show. No, they put on a show, just not on the level of the NFL. Yeah, I mean, it's not good enough. We're not satisfied with that. That's why they bring up the American guys. That's why they do that, right? Yeah. It's not good enough for us, Ivan. Because they downgrade their own talent. It's ridiculous. They have it blinded by American dominant. At least the league's growing. Like the league made an extra 18 million last season. So that's good. If the CFL can grow by 18 million every year, in the next 10 years, the league will be making, 350, almost 400 million, $380 million in 10 years, $400 million in 10 years. That's good. But maybe this year it won't have as much growth, so it might only, you know what I'm saying? So it has to be consistent growth, obviously. See what happens. Oh, Jameson, yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. We don't believe marketing the Canadian homegrown product is the best move. We got to market the American guys, Ivan. They put on a show on television. This is how we grow a league. Okay. I just hope the Garden League grows substantially in 10 years. Hope so. Yeah. The CFL fans love the American players. Yeah, they do. They do. They love them, obviously, but they love the Canadian guys more. Yeah, there you go. They love the Canadian guys more. That's how it works, right? Because they can relate to them. They're Canadian, obviously. It's a pride thing, right? Yeah. There's a reason why every football fan respects Russ Jackson. The fans respect Russ Jackson even more than Anthony Calvillo and Matt Duncan and all those guys. Because he's Canadian. It's a pride thing. They respect him a lot more than even those guys. I have a trophy named after him now. The Russ Jackson Award. It's actually University Awards, right? I have an award named after him now. The best college players in Canada who win their division for, defensive player, MVP and all that stuff, when they compete for the award, there's an award called the Russ Jackson Award. It's a beautiful award with his name on it. They put his name, they have an award named after him, and that's how you know they respect the Canadian guys more than the American guys. They don't have any Anthony Calvillo, Matt Duncan, they don't have any awards of those guys. They respect those guys. Of course they do. They do respect them for what they did up here, but they respect the Canadian legends more. That's how it works, right? That's how it works, right? Why do they respect the Canadian guys more? There's a few reasons. They can relate to them. It's a pride thing. They're Canadian. They're fellow Canadians, obviously. And don't forget, the Canadian players who played in the CFL are the greatest players up here in Canada who ever played the game. Well, these American guys, even though they're legends, they're amazing players, and I respect what they did up here, they're not the best players in America. They're guys who didn't get enough opportunities. So the Canadians love them, they respect them, they don't respect them the way they respect the Canadian guy. You got some saying? Tom Brady is that makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. But I do respect those guys too. I even respect those guys. Like what they did up here is amazing. I do respect them. I don't respect them the way I respect like Russ Jackson, right? Because Russ Jackson's a fellow Canadian. No Jameson, yeah. But the CFL legends, the Canadian fans do respect them though. Even the American guys, they respect them a lot for what they did up here. But I mean, they're American, they're from a different country, and they also know they never really want to be here. They're only here by default. They didn't get their F1 too. Hence why they don't respect them as much as the Canadian guys. The Canadian guys, they know they actually want to play up here, and they're the greatest players who ever played up here in Canada, man. All the Canadians who played in the CFL are the greatest players who ever played the game in Canada. The American guys who come up here are, even though they're amazing players, obviously, who played in the CFL, they're not the greatest players in America, right? They're the guys who can get everyone to know him. So yeah, that's just the truth. I don't even ask for it, yeah. But they're still amazing players, though. Even though they didn't get their opportunity, the American guys who come up here are fucking amazing athletes. They really are. They're amazing players, man. Obviously. Yeah. Talk for an hour, guys. I'm done here. That's how you know CFL. There's a bigger market over the Canadian talent. We know that, Ivan, but they're not as talented, Ivan, man. Yeah, that's the problem. Downgrade the Canadian talent. It's ridiculous, man. Yeah. I mean, it's not good enough. No, it's good quality football. It's just not on the NFL's level. You're not satisfied. Yeah, we're not satisfied with that quality. I want more. We want a bit more of higher quality, close to the NFL. That's why we bring all the American guys. It's not good enough for us, I mean, yeah. Because the CFL, they're blind by the NFL's American talent, obviously. That's why they take the leftovers. Yeah. As I saw in an interview, the CFL scouts, they scout players at NFL camps too. Yeah, they go to NFL camps. All you NFL guys know what I'm talking about. Sometimes you might see some CFL scouts. You guys will, yeah, we don't care about the CFL. Yeah, the guys that say don't care about the CFL, but the CFL scouts, they come down south and they scout players in the NFL camps. And they ask around, they ask the coaches, who are your bubble guys, who's most likely to get released, and those are the guys they bring up to the CFL. That's how it works, right? Yeah. And you want to grow the league with those guys? CFL is the best place you can. I don't get it, man. I never want to play in your league, CFL. They're only here by default. Because they got cut from the NFL or they didn't get drafted, man. Obviously. Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah. So the CFL's obviously relying on blindly on the American talent to grow their league. But I mean, hopefully the league has substantial growth. I mean, good growth in 10 years. We'll see what happens, obviously. I think the way forward is the Canadian talent, but I mean, if the CFL can grow, like, have a, 50, do an extra $50 million a year in revenue, in 10 years, that's $150 million. The league is not pulling in $400 million in revenue. That's good, but I mean, it has to be consistent minimal growth. But maybe not every year it's consistent growth. Sometimes they make less, so you know what I'm saying? No, I'm saying, yeah. They have to be consistent with their growth, obviously, in the CFL. That's my answer, obviously, right? Yeah. You think growing up with the American talent's the right way to go? No. I think it should be the Canadian homegrown talent, man. The league would make a little bit more money. I think with the Canadian homegrown talent, the league can do $35 million every year. $35 million every year, maybe $30 million every year. Maybe an extra $12 million does it. There's a little bit of a boost in revenue because the Canadians can relate to the Canadian guys, and they're more known talent to the Canadian fans than the American guys. The American guys may be talented; they have a lot of value and talent, but they don't have much market value up here because they're American. From a different country. That's why it's tough for the American players to get endorsement deals because the people can't know who the fuck these guys are, man. They're from a different country. Whereas the Canadian guys are easier to endorse. I know Andy Fantu's had a shampoo deal. He had his own line of shampoo. And Westland Dressler had his own chip brand. They called like the Dressler chips or something like that. In Saskatchewan. Yeah. I know the endorsement deals in CFL are a joke. Well, it's not a joke. They're not like big deals like the A-list sport athletes make. They're small little deals. They're not big deals, right? But the league can grow up to $450, $500 million. The players can now get bigger endorsement deals, like bigger ones, not multi-million-dollar ones like Connor Davis and Sidney Crosby. They can get bigger deals. That's my point, right? Yeah. The CFL athletes, no offense, they're not A-list sport athletes. It's a blue collar league. They're C-list celebrities, right? They're not like A-lister sport athletes. No, they're C-lister sport athletes. Oh, he said, yeah. Sarah? So you tell us let's say hypothetically speaking, I was appointed CFL commissioner. Before I was appointed CFL commissioner, they would sit me down in the office. Okay, Ivan, how do you want to grow this league? Okay, how much is your league doing in revenue right now? I don't know, we're doing $250 million a year right now in revenue. That's what we're averaging at. Okay, I want to double this thing to $400 or $450 million in 10 years. Ivan, how the fuck are you gonna do that? Okay, I'm gonna do something wild there. What? You gotta get rid of the American talent. They're laughing at me. Ivan, are you crazy, man? We're not gonna get rid of the American talent. No, man, if you want the thing to work, you have to get rid of the American talent. That's the problem, man. This has been going on for decades. Your bias has been going on for decades. You're blinded by the NFL's American talent. That's why you're bringing the leftovers up here, and you've been seeing minimal growth for decades. This league should be doing easily $500 million after decades of history, decades of football history in Canada, and you're only peaking at $250 million. Something is obviously not right. It's not the American talent. There's just not a big demand for Canadian football. Yeah, I agree with that. There is not that much of a big demand for Canadian football. But you're the Canadian Football League. You should be marketing the homegrown talent, Canadian talent, not the American talent. Unless you want to call this league the AFL, the American Football League, because you call it the Canadian Football League, and yet most of your star players are American players. We were marketing the Canadian people, so it's tough for the people of Canada to really resonate with that. You guys know what I'm saying? Like, it's weird. Whereby most of your star players in the Canadian Football League, a Canadian brand in Canada, is filled with American star players. Or even they're talented. Yeah, that's the problem. You're buying by the American talent. There you go. Oh, I'm saying, Look, man, either you take this chance, this could be huge in 10 years. I don't know, 450, 500 million your business, or it won't make a difference. If it doesn't make a difference, you can just change the rule and just bring back the American guy. You got nothing to lose, guys. You might as well give it a try. But I think this is the key. Like, no, we can't do that, man. Like, we have to give these American guys an opportunity to play football. Yeah, what about the Canadian guys? Yeah, you got it. So so you care more about the American players in the States playing pro football than your own Canadian players who are from your country, your own fellow Canadian players. It's ridiculous, man. Yeah. And on CFL, I'm talking to you, committee. A lot of these American guys are using your CFL, the NFL. We know that. We don't care. Hopefully, we do our best to keep them here and hopefully, yeah, that's the CFL's hope. Yeah, hopefully we bring the guys up, they're going to be stars, and we do whatever we can to keep them here. The GMs really do try their best to keep the star players here, but I mean, they can't compete with the NFL, man. They can't compete at all with the NFL. Obviously. They can't compete with the NFL. NFL has way bigger partners than the CFL. CFL can't compete with the NFL. And the GMs tell them, yeah, we can't compete with the NFL. We can offer people more money, give you housing for your rent while you're playing in Canada, but I mean, that's the best we can do. And that's it, yeah. So I'm sorry. Or they might offer to get them a car. Because I heard a story of one athlete who I think they bought him a car or something like that. So sometimes the CFO might offer them to buy them a nice car, and some players they're so okay. I'll just stay up here. It's too good of a deal to turn down because you'll make more in the NFL, but chances are you're going to sit on the bench, and if you sit on the bench, chances are they might release you and put you on the practice roster. You might as well, the fans over here just stay up here. The CFL fans love you, and some of them stay, but a lot of them end up leaving the NFL because the NFL can pay them more money. Let's see if we can pay them. It's not even close, man. Yeah, it's not even close. Sarah? I'm gonna go just make some coffee. So your goal, my goal is to grow this league to at least a 400 million, 450 million, at least a 400 million business in 10 years. And 15 years, 450 to 500 million. You believe you can grow this thing to $500 million in 50 years, Ivan? Assuming I was an average price down the keys, yes. Hey, what's your marketing strategy? And I tell them my marketing strategy. Okay, you need to promote the change. CFL's now Canada, and you have to when you make that change, you have to market it on TSN. CFL's now Canada, and when they do a press conference, have TSN air it. That way, everyone in Canada knows. And also contact their prime minister and have him talk about the change. That way people in Canada know on TV, yes. The Prime Minister will gladly do that for you. And have all the Canadian players, even the Prime Minister and all the coaches who have social media on X and Instagram post it. That way a lot of the fans know. And I know you need to do nationwide commercials of like the star franchise quarterbacks. All 9, not all 9, do maybe like four a few of the quarterbacks do nationwide commercials, okay. And obviously. That's how you get the word out. And the big key is contact the NFL, have their best All-Star players play our best Canadian All-Stars. I don't know, you crazy, we're going to destroy it. No, do that. That way more eyes are on your Canadian product. We'll have it take place in Canada. Do like either a 1 game or we do like a 5-game series on TSN. I'm sorry, okay. Ivan, no. Like, Ivan, you're the smartest commissioner we ever interviewed, man. Canada we ever interviewed, man. This could actually work, but it's risky, Ivan, man. Like, they're not as good as the American guys. Yeah, but guys, be honest, is there really that much of a difference with the guys, the American guys and the Canadian guys? When I see the Canadian star players play, I don't see that much of a difference. Yeah, the American guys are a bit more athletic. They put more of a show, but like, it's still quality football, guys. It's just not on the NFL's level. Yeah, I mean, there's like a 50% drop. Yeah, but it's still good quality football, guys. It's not on the NFL's level, but it's a little bit of a significant drop, but it's still amazing football, guys. You're just blind by the American talent. There you go. I'm sorry, we can't do this, man. It's not a good idea, man. They're just not as talented. Okay, you downgrade the Canadian talent. You guys piss me off. I don't want to. I'm not interested in being your commissioner. I'm stepping down, man. I can't see any other way of growing your leagues actually with the American talent, guys. We've been trying to market these guys for years. It's not working. Obviously, something is not right. Don't hate him, yeah. Something's always not right. There you go. Don't hate him, yeah. I'm sorry. Give me a second, guys. I'm gonna go upstairs and make my coffee and wash my plates too. What we guys doing the CFL Show? Alrighty, guys. My coffee's brewing, so in a good like I don't know, 10 minutes I'll go just to get my coffee. I'm growing white hair on my beard, by the way, guys. I think by the time I'm 40, I'm gonna have white hair on my beard and everything. Are you really going white hair? Yeah, I am. I'm seeing like white hair. Because I'm seeing like white hair growing on my beard. Yeah. I don't know. I guess I have the gene to have white hair. I don't know. It's weird. What are you eating, Ivan? Melted cheese. Melted cheddar cheese. It's good. Yeah. The committee would laugh you off. Yeah, they would, man. They'd say no. And if they told me no, I'm like, yeah, you guys piss me off. You downgrade your own fellow Canadians in terms of talent, and you're blinded by the American talent. We're not even from here, and then you wonder why you haven't been growing up. This is the only thing I can think of growing a league. I can't see other way to grow a league. This is me without the keys, right? Because I do have the keys here, but if I didn't have the keys, that would be my business strategy. Ivan, what's your goal? I want to grow this league to a 500 $550 million a year business in 15 years. In 10 years, at least $400 million. And in 15 years, $550 million to $600 million in 15 years. And guys, if you once you now make that money, I don't know, once you now pull in $440 million a year, you can now build better facilities, put money into renovations for your stadiums, and build for the East team, because the West teams have pretty good facilities, like the BC Lions, Edmonton Eskimos, Winnipeg Mines, Saskatchewan have amazing facilities. Well, the Calgary Stampeders don't have the best facilities because they share the stadium with the University of Calgary, right? Like, yeah, your Calgary stadium is a piece of shit, guys. You need to build a new stadium for your CFL team. Once you have a healthier growth for your revenue, you can now build a new Calgary stadium, obviously, and you can renovate update the facilities for the East team. The West teams already have nice facilities, but the East teams and Calgary, you need to upgrade your facilities. That way you have better facilities for your players. That's the goal, yeah. A new stadium for Calgary, and a new stadium for Montreal, because Montreal and Calgary are the only two teams that have shitty facilities. They like Montreal Alouettes, they play their games at the McGill University. Like the McGill University Stadium, that's where they play. They need, Montreal, you guys need your own stadium. And Calgary needs its own stadium. The other stadiums are good, but those stadiums are a piece of shit off the games, yeah. And you want bigger sponsorship? Yeah, I want more Canadian companies to sponsor the CFL. And the Canadians are happy to get bigger endorsement deals. That's my goal. And you raise the cap, the players can now make more money. I don't know, you raise it to $9 million. Players can now make more money, since there. And now the GMs don't have to worry about losing their players to the NFL with that kind of cap. With a $9 million cap, the GMs don't have to worry about losing their players to the NFL now. For the Canadian players, right? For the American players, it doesn't make a difference. Like, the NFL can still pay you way more. But for the Canadian players, the GMs don't have to worry about losing their players to the NFL. All those guys, especially the quarterbacks, are going to turn down because now they're making like their $900, $800, $1 million, $1.1 million a year salary. That's more than what they're making sitting on the bench in the NFL. They can turn it down. The committee's all blown away. Ivan, man, you're the one commissioner that actually convinced us, Ivan. You're a genius, I know. But no, Ivan. We're not going to do this. Ivan, we can do everything that you want to do except with American talent. It won't make a difference with American talent, guys. The fans of Canada don't really resonate with these guys compared to the Canadian guys. If you do this with the American guys, it won't make a difference. You've been doing this for decades. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference. It's the Canadian athletes. The Canadian talent. That's the key. In my opinion, anyways, right? That's the key, yeah. I don't even say yeah. Not the American talent. Why? We can have our best all-star players, like some of the Canadian American guys, against the NFL All-Stars. Nah, it won't make a difference, guys. Because those American guys who are playing in the CFL, they're from the States. And they're guys who get out of opportunity versus the NFL athletes. That doesn't really build buzz. No one really care that much. But if you have the best Canadian players versus the best American players, Team Canada versus Team USA, you have a nation face-off, like a 5-game series, that builds more buzz. I know I'm doing. Not the NFL guys who get out of opportunity. No, not those guys. The Canadian guys. Now, those are the people who the fans in Canada really care about. Yeah, if you did that game, millions, if you market the heck out of that, millions of people in Canada will be watching that game. And all of Canada will be supporting their homegrown Canadian talent. And all the people in America will be supporting their American talent, obviously. As they would, the NFL told me, we want to air this. Yeah, you can bring your camera guys to film it. That way the people in America can watch it. And then for the people of Canada, our TSN guys will film it. And then all of Canada will see those games. And the committee's Ivan, you crazy? We're going to get destroyed, man. Look, man, even if we get destroyed, at least we got to market the Canadian talent. I know what I'm doing, man. The Canadian star players, I know what I'm doing. That's how your league grows. Yeah, man. But even if you take that away, the league can still grow, guys, if you just market the star Canadian quarterbacks. No, I'm doing some sound. You gotta market the star Canadian quarterbacks. That's how it works, right? Yeah, you gotta do that. Market the star Canadian quarterbacks. Some Sarah. That's the key. That's the key, yeah. Market the star Canadian quarterbacks. Some Sarah. Amen. Yeah. Or this doesn't make a difference. Guys, I have two answers. Either by doing this, if you want to market the homegrown Canadian talent, it doesn't make a difference. You're going to still see minimal growth. Or there is a bigger market, but it's with the Canadian product, and your league doubles in revenue in 10, 15 years. In 10 years, your league could do maybe 400, 450 million. In 15 years, your league's doing 550, 600 million a year in revenue. 600 million a year in revenue. Now, once the CFL does 600 million a year in revenue, they can increase the cap to like $9.5-10 million per team, maybe $9.5 million. And with $9.5 million, the minimum salary can now be like $100,000 for a player who's not a star. That's good money. That's how much star players making in the CFL right now, right? Star players make like $100,000 in the CFL. Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, star players make a bit more than that now, but I mean, that's close to the range of some of the star players making the CFL right now, $100,000. Yeah, and your QBs can now make their $1.2 million salary, man. You know what I'm saying? And your league's bigger now. So now the GMs don't have to worry about losing their Canadian star players in the NFL because their QBs are making more money than what they'll make sitting on a bench in the NFL. Guys from Sarah? Yeah, the QBs only though, right? Yeah, that's how you grow the league. Why your G isn't home. The CFL lose a lot of great Canadian talent. Oh yeah, they did, man. All because of American bias. They lost out on Brandon Bridge, Kyle Quinlan, and Anthony Coombs, Jamont Chambers. You know what I'm saying? A lot of great talent, man. Jamont Chambers, yeah. Lyndon Gadosh. He also played for Team Canada. I almost said about Lyndon Gadosh, right? He played. Yeah, he was a first round pick back in like 2013. He went to the NFL. He signed with the Carolina Panthers, I think. He went to the NFL. He had his stint in the NFL, and he came back to the CFL, and he bounced around teams. He had limited reps. He wasn't really starting. He was a bust first round pick. He retired. Stephon Charles also a similar situation. He got signed in the NFL. He bounced around teams in the NFL, and he came back to Canada, and then he bounced around teams in Canada. He retired too. All bust first round picks. If you take one in the American town, all these guys would have been all-star players, man, in the CFL. Yeah, man, it's sad. I know, man. Especially Brandon Bridge. Brandon Bridge would have been an all-star, a star fucking Canadian quarterback in the CFL. And yeah, we lost out on all those guys because of the American rule bias. Yeah, because of the bullshit of American rule bias, we lost out on all these amazing star players. They would have been star players. And Dwayne Ford knows about, yeah, you're right, man. All those guys you mentioned would have been franchise players. Yeah, they would have been franchise game players, star players in the CFL. They just got their time to shine, man. Even with the American talent, I believe all those guys would have been star players. But you take away the American talent, they would have been franchise star players, man. Star players, man. Anthony Coombs, I believe, would have been almost as good as... I don't think he's Andrew Harris, but he would have been almost as good as Andrew Harris. You know what I'm saying? And Jamont Chambers was an amazing receiver, too. But yeah, he flopped. Nick Dembski did not flop, though. He's not a bust first-round pick. He was drafted like in the 8th overall first-round pick in 2015. He's a star receiver for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and he's killing it. He's putting up 1,000 yards a season, man, for Winnipeg. He's a franchise like starting receiver, and he's just as good as all these American guys. I'm right there for he's just as good. Yeah, Nick Dempsey's just as good as all these American receivers. He's putting up 1,000+ yards for the past couple of years. First couple of years he had a couple hundred yards, and once he got more reps and became a star player, now he's averaging 1,000 yards a season. Nick Dempsey. So Nick Dempsey is a lucky one. He's not a bust first round pick. He's a fucking star franchise player. I told you there's a few players who get to be stars, and most of them are bust picks. That's how the worst in the CFL. That's funny. I know. It's sad. I know. Give me a second, guys. I'm going to just get my coffee. I'm back and say, how about you on this show? Alrighty, guys. Why don't I just get my coffee? George with you guys, and after that, I'm going to go to bed. Sleep. I'm off again tomorrow. But I have to do my paperwork for my welfare Quebec. I have to go to Coco Fruity and ask the boss for my employment record paper. I have to print it out, and I have to get my stepfather or my stepmother to sign the proof of resident form, and I have to go to the office tomorrow. Now, the lady said when I go to the office, I'm going to talk to one of the agents, the welfare agent people, right, about my welfare situation here. Because right now, I have been receiving welfare. I would have had money, but I mean, that's why I did not quit Dinty, just in case it takes maybe 2 months for me to get my welfare. I work once a week. Things that way I collect 200 every 2 weeks. I have some money for myself. And I get my government checks this month in October too, so I'm good. I just gotta make sure I have enough money till Friday midnight. So I have tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday. I have like four or five bags of cans. I have enough money to get my spells. I mean, that's funny. You're poor, I know. That's how poor I am. I have to go to the bank, go to the Super C and cash cans to get money. Because the gatekeepers are wicked human. I'd be a wealthy person by now, but I mean, gatekeepers lock the doors, man. That's why I'm poor. So wicked people. Yeah. Why the CFL lost on many amazing. Oh yeah, the CFL lost out on many amazing Canadian athletes. Anthony Coombs was an amazing running back at the University of Manitoba. He was drafted in the first round. He was a bust pick. Whereas Nick Dembski played on the same team as him. He was drafted a year later in the first round. He got to be a star player, so he got lucky. Whereas Anthony Coombs did not get lucky with Toronto. He retired like 3 or 4 years ago. Anthony Coombs. 2021 was the last time you heard about him in Wikipedia. You don't hear anything about him after like 2021. Yeah, it's sad. Yeah. Yeah, man. They lost on many amazing Canadian players, man. And to everyone talk about, yeah, you're right, man. Like, because of the American bias, all these players you mentioned would have been star players. Yeah, they would have been star players. Kyle Quinlan would have been a franchise quarterback if you took away the American bias. CFO would have drafted him definitely. He may have not have been a first round pick because Kyle Quinlan is not as athletic as like Brandon Bridge and like Nathan Rook and Trey Ford and all those guys, but he was an amazing pocket quarterback. But he's not Nathan Rook. Nathan Rook is a bit better than Kyle Quinlan. Kyle Quinlan was an amazing quarterback too. He would have been a franchise quarterback too. Imagine the panel talking about all these franchise quarterbacks, man. And you market the universities, man, that'd be crazy buzz. Yeah, we know that all, but they're not as talented. Yeah, CFO, you're blind by the American talent. You're trying to be almost as good as the NFL. That's your problem. Like, stop trying to be like the NFL and just focus on being the CFL of Canada, Canadian people. Forget about the NFL. The American guys in the States don't care about our CFL. Why are you so worried about the NFL's grabbing the leftovers of the NFL's talent of America's talent of the football players? The America's talent and bring them here instead of focusing on growing the grassroots Canadian homegrown talent. I mean, I don't get it. That's what the committee. Yeah, that's your problem, guys. You're blinded by the American talent because the NFL players are so good and it's so popular on the stage. You think by bringing the leftovers here in Canada, your league will grow substantially. No, you have to look at the context, guys. The players who play in the NFL who are the best football players in the world, they're American. A lot of the fans know them from college. They can relate to them. They're American. These Americans who you bring up here who may be talented, no one in Canada knows the guys even are, man. They can't really relate to these guys. And because you're blind about their talent, you think that's the best way to grow the league because they're almost as talented as the NFL guys. They're almost as talented as some of the NFL guys. That's why you bring the leftovers here, yeah. I'm sorry. That's why the C4 brings the leftovers. Yeah, the C4 brings the leftovers. Okay, the best players in America are playing in the NFL. The guys who didn't make the NFL, they're not as talented as the NFL guys, but they're almost as talented. Almost as talented as let's bring some of the leftover guys here, and hopefully they put on a show. Obviously for the Canadian people, but I told you, CFL, if you do that, you have no choice but to market the what? The American players to the what? The Canadian people, I'm sorry. Yeah. Why is it a gut feeling in your heart? Yeah, something tells me that's the key, man. It's not the American talent, it's the Canadian talent, CFL. If you have Milt Siegel and Enoch Mwamba talk about all these franchise quarterbacks, and you do nationwide commercials and you market them, the universities, man, I guarantee you quite a bit of those students will tune into the games, man. Yeah, I'll watch. I want to see this QB, see if he can take his music. Got more people tune in. It won't be an overnight success, but in 10 years it could be huge, like a $500 million business in 10 years, man. If the CFO grew to $500 million business, they can now raise the cap to like $9 million, and the players can make way more money, man. Not NFL money, but they're now making a lot of money. Like they're making a great, like, rich living. They're not millionaires, except for the QBs, right? They're making an amazing living, man. And the GMs don't have to worry about the players going to the NFL. All these Canadian guys will turn down NFL opportunities. Yeah, I don't care about the NFL. I'm making enough money here. The fans love me here. I don't care about the NFL. My chances of being a star there is not high. As I told you, the NFL has a bias towards Canadian players. I told you the story about Nathan Rook and Enoch Mwamba, right? Yeah. Both played amazing in the preseason. They put them in the practice roster. Like, it's not... Yeah, we don't like you Canadian guys. Yeah, the NFL has a bias towards Canadian guys. So why are you letting all these American guys come up here and take the spotlight from your best Canadian players? I don't get it, man. It's almost like a betrayal to your own country. Yeah. I'm wearing a mask. No, I'm not, man. It's true. Like, it kind of is like a betrayal to your own country, CFL. Like, you don't trust the Canadian players to put on good enough quality football for the people in Canada. No. It's more than good enough quality. Dwayne Ford would it's good quality football. I was on the edge of my seat with that. Yeah, Dwayne Ford was on the edge of his seat in the championship game, CI championship game with Kyle Quinlan, Laval versus Master. He was like, best game ever. And I was saying, it was such an entertaining game. They made a documentary about it, guys. And they called it the best game ever. They used Dwayne Ford's quote. That was one of the greatest CIS college games ever, man, in history. They made a documentary about it, and I saw a documentary. Yeah. Yeah. Kyle Quinlan was putting on a show. Ivan, like, it's good quality football. And don't forget, CFL, those were not the best players in Canada, and that was still entertaining for me So the best players in Canada will be a lot more entertaining than that game because those are the greatest players in Canada, man. The players playing on those teams were not the greatest players, and the game was still entertaining for me. I mean, I don't get it. Sarah. So I have a natural goal, yes. I want to grow this thing to a 450 million dollar business in 10 years. 15 years, 550 million dollar business. And my goal is to raise the cap to at least 9 million. That way you can pay the players more money. And they won't be tempted to go to the NFL. And also the GMs and coaches can get paid more money, assuming, hypothetically, if I was CFL commissioner, I did not have the keys on lounge person. And also upgrade and renovate the facilities. That way we get better facilities for the players. And also the East teams cannot have chartered flights. I think the CFL, it's a little bit unprofessional that the East teams have to fly commercial. The West teams, I know, have their own chartered planes, but the East teams don't have chartered planes, I heard. They fly commercial with everyone else. I mean, that's funny, I know. CFL's cheap, obviously. You think the CFL can afford it? Of course they can. They're just cheap. They want to hold on to that cash because the CFL doesn't make the kind of money the NFL makes, right? That's why they're a little cheap, obviously. But that's good enough, man. Like, we can afford it, but we got to hold on to this cash. The league is not making the kind of money that the NFL is making. I understand that. Like, if you want to hold on to the cash because the league is not as profitable as like the NFL, I get it. But if you could afford to charter the flights, CFL, like, it doesn't hurt to charter the flights for the players. Don't have them fucking fly commercial, man. It's fucking pro football, Sarah. I mean, that's good enough. Or maybe they can't afford it, but I highly doubt it, man. There's no way the CFL can't afford it. They can afford it. They have their TV money too. They make from TSN. They can afford it, but like they just want to hold on to the cash, obviously. Or they can't afford it. But I guarantee they can't afford it. They're just cheap, obviously. CFL's cheap, yeah. Yeah. Because I really want to see the league grow, man. Because I'm sick and tired of like, even though I love the NFL and I respect the NFL more than the CFL, don't hate me guys saying it's the best players in the world. Like the NFL is not my league. It's an American league. The CFL is my league. It's a Canadian league. I'm like, yeah, it'd be nice for CFL to be like a $500 million a year business, man, and these players can get paid more money. Even if you keep the American players, it doesn't hurt for the players to make. Assuming, let's say you keep the American players, it wouldn't hurt for the league to make $500 million. That way, these American guys who come up here, who didn't get the NFL opportunity, they can get paid more money. And if the cap's at $9 million, the American players will all turn down NFL opportunities because now they're making a lot of money. Well, not all of them will turn it down, but the QBs will turn it down. If they're not making $800, $900 million, they'll turn it down because that's more money than what they're making the NFL sitting on the bench. I'm sorry. But my dream is the Canadian. I want to see the best players in Canada compete for the Grey Cup in the CFL. I want to see all these franchise Canadian quarterbacks play. That's my dream for the CFL, but it's never going to happen, obviously. Why won't you be CFL commissioner? Because I'm too big for your league, guys. I'm worth more in your whole league. Your league cannot afford me. And what? The committee would say no. The committee would never ever change their mind about the American talent problem. I even know we're never going to get rid of the American talent. Yeah. And if I was CFL commissioner, hypothetically speaking, I did not have the keys. I was an average person. I became commissioner. Even if I pitched this genius business strategy, they would still say no. They would still tell me no. Yeah, I also look. My goal is also to make a CFL game in the future when the league is big. You can now make a CFL game when it becomes more popular. Obviously, that's like a 15-year plan or something like that, right? Yeah. Obviously. Yeah. You think the CFL would change your mind? No. Never gonna happen, man. Never gonna happen. Never gonna happen, man. They think, yeah, I mean, this is the right way. The American talent is the way to go with growing the Canadian football league in Canada, the Canadian people. Yeah, I disagree, but I mean, you want to grow the league with American players, be my guest, right? I just hope the league grows. It'd be nice for a league to grow to a $400 million a year business in 10 years. We'll see what happens. I highly doubt that. Maybe 300 something million, but $400 million is a stretch. But I mean, it could happen. Hopefully, the league grows in 10 years. But I mean, the league has no growth, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. Obviously, like I'm saying, you know. Sorry. why? Seriously, are you bluffing, man? Are most picks in the CFL bust? Yes. Most picks in the CFL are bust picks. Even the first round picks are bust guys. They play like special teams and all that stuff. Yeah, it's sad. I mean, that's cold, man. I know. This pick is a 6th overall pick in the CFL draft. Congratulations to them. And they hype you up with a draft pick, and the GM calls it. You do a thing where the draft pick is sitting down in the restaurant with his family and friends, and they're watching the draft live on television. And then they have the camera guys there, and then they film them. And then the GMs call them, and they're like, the guy's like a 6th overall pick, 5th overall pick. They only do that for the first round guys, by the way. The second, third round guys, they don't do that. But for the first round guys, sometimes they do a thing where you see them. They're in the restaurant. They watch the draft on television, live on TSN, and then the commissioner, the GM gives them a call, and you see them they have their cell phone. Yeah, you've been chosen as like the 6th overall pick. The draft picks are all happy. They're trying for joy. It's all noise. And then they go into training camp. You know what I'm saying? And you always have that hope. Hopefully these guys are stars. I always have that hope. Every time when I watch the CFL draft back in like 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, all stuff, right? I always have that hope. I gotta hope some of these guys get to be stars. And the only ones who I saw who got to be stars are Enoch Mwamba. Enoch Mwamba was the only draft pick. And Antoine Pruneau. Those are the only 2 guys who actually got to be stars who I remember getting drafted in the league. And the alignment guys. But the alignment guys don't really count, right? It's a non-skill position. The alignment guys, a lot of them got to be stars, obviously, when they got drafted. Skill positions, the only 2 guys who I knew who were stars were Antoine Pruneau. He got drafted in the first round, like in 2014. Or 2015 or 2014, I don't remember, by the Ottawa Red Blacks. And he had an amazing career. He was a star free safety. He played for University of Montreal, a French guy, right? And Enoch Mwamba. Those are the only 2 guys who got to be stars. Who I know who got drafted. And Nick Dembski. And the alignment. The alignment guys, right? But the alignment don't count because the alignment are non-skill positions. I told you. The alignment, a lot of them got to be stars, obviously, over the past, 8, 9, 10 years. But the skill positions, there's only 3 guys who I knew who got drafted when I saw the draft, who actually got to be stars in the CFL. And there might be a few other ones, but I'm ignorant. I don't know. I mean, that's cool. That's sad, man. I know. Those are the only 3 guys who I knew who were stars who got drafted. Yeah, 3 guys, man. Nick Dembski, Antoine Pruneau, and Enoch Mwamba. And the other guys were all limited reps, bouncing around teams, all bust picks. Yeah, man. Bust first round picks. It's sad. And Shamar Chambers was just as good as Nick Dembski. He's more athletic than Nick Dembski, you can argue, but Nick Dembski got lucky. He got to shine in Winnipeg for the Warriors. But Shamar Chambers didn't get his opportunity to shine, obviously. He was a bust first round pick. I mean, that's funny, I know. Sad, man, I know, man. Fucking sad. Yeah, man. Almost there, guys. Going forward, well, yeah, you're right, man. All those guys who have been franchise players, I know. If you got rid of the American talent, they'd all be franchise players. Yeah, they'd all be franchise players, man. I think Dwayne Ford agrees. Yeah, you're right. They'd all be franchise players if you got rid of the American talent, of course. It's never going to happen, though. CFL believes the best way to go forward was American talent. I understand it, like, you want high quality football. Yeah, you want high quality football. That's why you just can't get rid of the American talent. But the Canadian players is high quality football, too. It's just not on the NFL's level. You're blind by the American talent, CFL. Yeah, it's like you're blind by the American talent. There you go. Almost a guy. I'll talk for an hour. That's good enough. Yeah. Do you think the CFL can ever reach $1 billion? No. The market in Canada is not big enough for the CFL. Don't forget, Canada only has about 50 million people living here. The States has 300 million people living here. There's a much bigger market for pro sports in the States and Canada. The CFL's peak, I think, is at 600 million range. That's probably its highest peak. I don't think it can get any higher than that because there just isn't that big of a market for football. But my dream would be for the CFL to hit that range, to hit $550, $600 million a year, and you can have a $10 million cap, and you can pay the players more money, obviously. But I mean, the CFL struggling to really attract them to Canadians and the Canadians in Canada, obviously. Either they don't really care about Canadian football, or there's a bigger market for them. It's not with your American star players, CFL, it's with your Canadian star players. Specifically, mainly the franchise Canadian quarterbacks. That's the key, obviously. It's all about the quarterbacks. The other players help build the buzz, but the real buzz is with the quarterbacks. The panel talks about the Canadian franchise quarterbacks. That builds buzz for the people of Canada, obviously. I'm sorry. All the Canadian ads, Ivan, man, like, that's our dream too. It'd be nice for us to be stars up here. Yeah, guys, I'm sorry, man. CFL has a bias towards the American players. I'm wearing a mask. Look, man, if I'm wearing a mask, I'm wearing a mask, but the CFL has a bias towards the American players. Most of you guys are not going to be stars, man. I don't mean to be an asshole. It's just the truth, right? Most of you guys, but at least you guys get to play special teams. But I know you guys want to be stars. It's not going to happen, man. CFL wants the American guys to start over you guys because they put on more of a show. So, Sarah. Not gonna happen, guys. Yeah. Not going to happen. Unless they make the change, which is never gonna happen. They're never gonna make that change. Yeah, we're never gonna make that change, man. Like, the Canadians are not good enough for us. We're not satisfied with that quality. Well, I was satisfied with the CIS championship, and that was good quality for me. And Dwayne Ford was satisfied with it as he was on the edge of his seat calling it the best game ever, man. And the play-by-play guy is now a play-by-play guy for the CFL. I forget his name. He played at Queens as an O-lineman. I forget his name. I know the guy. Yeah, he was the play-by-play guy for that game. And he was on the edge of his seat too, I believe. And Dwayne Ford was a color commentator. And Dwayne Ford's like, best game ever. Yeah, he's going crazy. And they made a documentary about it, man. Dwayne's like, yeah, even that game was entertaining for me. Yeah, it was entertaining football. And those are not even the best players in Canada, CFL. Those are not the best players in Canada. Each CFL team has like 1 or 2 guys eligible for the draft, and that's it. Yeah. Max 3 guys eligible for the CFL draft. And the other players don't make it to the CFL. That's how it works, right? Just like in the NFL, you have a similar situation in the NCAA, right? Yeah. Ivan, what position would you want to play? What position would you want to play if you played football? Quarterback. Quarterback is tough. That's tough, man. Yeah. For me, football is even tougher than hockey, to be honest. It's tougher, man. Because, like, especially quarterback, that's tough. That's tough, man. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Are there some CIS athletes, star athletes, who turn down CFL opportunities? Yes, they are. There's a guy named Sam Saborn. He was an amazing linebacker. I played with him for OVFL. I played football for OVFL. I only played for like a good couple games and I quit. I played with him. He was an amazing linebacker. He was eligible for the 2014 CFL draft. He played at Queens, and he didn't show up to the East-West Bowl. East-West Bowl is like the best all-star players they played in this East-West Bowl game, the East versus the West. He didn't go to that, and he didn't go to the combine. He didn't want to play pro football. I think because he knew about the bias. He knew, yeah, my chances of starting is high. I want to pursue another career. And back then, the minimum salary in the CFL was like $50,000. So is it worth playing pro football for $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 when I can just pursue another career and the chances of me starting is high? That's probably why he didn't want to play pro football. Some CIS guys turn down pro football opportunities. to just pursue another career. Just like in the NCAA league, you have a similar situation. There are some players who turn down the NFL to just pursue another career because they know their chances of being a star is not really that high unless you're a first, second, third round pick. But I mean, your chances of being a star player it's hard. It's not easy being a star player in the NFL, right? Even the CFL too, because of the American bias, right? And don't forget, the coaches have a bias towards the franchise players. The chances of you starting is not high. That's another reason too, right? You're a franchise player. Chances of you losing your position is not high unless you do horribly bad and the other guy's lucky and he gets to step up and put on a show on the field. He gets opportunity to start. That's the only way, right? Yeah. CFL has grown. The minimum salary in the CFL used to be like $44,000, and now it's $70,000. So it's in a much better position than it was like 10, 11 years ago. But I mean, the league is struggling. I'm saying, and to attract the Canadian people in Canada, obviously. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. So the coaches and GMs and have to keep quiet about the bias. Yeah, if you want to keep your job, you got to shut your mouth, man. The Canadian players know about the bias, but if they want to keep their job, they got to shut their mouths, man. They can't speak, otherwise they can lose their job. That's how bad it is, man. The coaches can't really speak about it, but you know what I'm saying they have to keep their mouth shut, man, because they can lose their job, obviously. Whereas I can say whatever the fuck I want because I'm not working for the CFL. But the players in the CFL, they have to keep their mouth shut, otherwise they can lose their jobs. They know about the bias, not stupid, but if they speak out about it, they can lose their job, man. That's why they keep their mouth shut. But I'm not working for the CFL. I can say whatever the fuck I want. I have freedom of speech, man. I can say whatever the fuck I want. There we go. I'm sorry. The coaches do their very best to not downgrade the Canadian talent. Yeah, they do. But like you can tell by the way they talk. The Canadian players are not as talented as the American guys. There's a reason why all the American guys are starting, obviously, over the Canadian guys, right? Yeah. So I remember before I chose camp here, I remember when Mark Cohan was the CFL commissioner. He was an amazing commissioner. He was arguably the best CFL commissioner in history. He really did grow the league a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Building new stadiums and everything. He was an amazing CFL commissioner. And I remember the press kept grilling him about the Canadian quarterbacks, and he kept dodging the question. He answered it in a roundabout way to try. Yeah, I don't want to put down the Canadian quarterbacks, but at the same time, I gotta level up with the press. And he answered the question, but he answered it in a roundabout way. He dodged the question because he doesn't want to put down the Canadian quarterbacks, obviously. But along came Brandon Bridge. Brandon Bridge paved the way for Canadian quarterbacks. Brandon Bridge was the QB who paved the way for Canadian quarterbacks. He started for like 5 games. They benched him, and then that paved the way for Trey Ford and Nathan Rourke, obviously. Nathan Rourke is a starting Canadian quarterback for the BC Lions, and he already has like 400 yards passing. He might hit 5,000 yards passing this year with Nathan Rourke in the CFL. That's crazy. And yeah, he's on talk to win MVP. Nathan Rourke. MOP, it's called MOP in the CFL. Most outstanding player, right? MOP. Nathan Rourke, right? He might win it, right? Maybe, I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. I'm saying? Yeah. I know it's never going to happen, so my only hope is that the CFO grows. I hope it should grow. I hope the CFO can be at least a $400 million business in maybe 10, 15 years. That'd be nice, but I mean, we'll see what happens, obviously. But you guys heard my suggestions, CFL. I mean, if you ever think of changing your mind, I gave you the suggestions, but I don't hate you. Saying, yeah, we're never going to do that. I know you're never going to do that. The American talent's the way to go. We need to grow the league with the American talents, the people, and market them to the people of Canada. I know. Even though I disagree, I know. That's your plan, obviously, right? Of marketing the Canadian Football League with American talent. Yes, Ivan, that's how we know the world league, Ivan. Okay. That's all I'm going to say. Anyways, here's where I hope you guys enjoyed the show, Private Mayor. Peace out. Don't hate him, Hope you guys enjoyed my show.